today on From Atlanta to Nairobi.
Such a good exercise. If we were talking to ourselves like we were a friend of ours, what would we tell that friend?
I think I'd tell her her journey is unique, and it's okay when it hurts.
From the U.S.
To Kenya,
two women,
2 continents, one
powerful conversation. A show where we bridge worlds,
build sisterhood, and share stories that prove
we're more alike than we are different.
You're watching From Atlanta to Nairobi.
Of a new beginning.
I guess maybe that's something we could do right now if you are okay with that. We can both, have a go at that. And then for all of you who are watching or listening, we want you to try that too. So whether that's put it in the comments or put it in your journal or just speak it to yourself. I think, as we were just sharing about the shedding, let's, keep along those lines. What would you tell Vivian that she needs to know?
Wow. I think I'd tell her her journey is unique, and it's okay when it hurts, and I don't know. I think those 2 things would be the main ones, because we also have this tendency where you want to compare your journey to someone else's, and when you think about when people transition or when people take their own lives, it's usually because you feel like you're on the wrong path. But then the truth is, our paths do not look alike. Our souls have very unique missions. And sometimes you kind of just have to sit still. So those 2 things, that our journey is unique, and what had I said? Her journey is unique, and
it's okay to feel hurt, like
yes, it's okay to feel the heaviness, and just those would be the top 2 things.
I'm giving you a big old virtual hug right now, and thank you for your courage. And it's simple yet profound, and I really appreciate you sharing that. I know that there's people who needed to hear that too. You may be going through something similar, so thank you.
Oh yeah. Hello.
I would say for me, if I was talking to my friend, like if I have to kind of get in the mode, I might, as you know, we talk on the phone, girl, hey girl, what's going on, friend? So I would say, you're doing a really good job. You're doing great.
Yeah.
I would say, I know you have these very high standards for yourself, and it's okay to you have grace with so many people. Extend some of that grace to you too. And that would be my advice to me.
But you are doing a good job.
That was really helpful.
So what did you say? What were the 2 things you said to yourself? You're doing a really good
job, and you extend grace to others, so extend that to yourself.
So, and I feel like we need to take this practice a level higher, right? Because I think sometimes we get into these spaces, and I was telling you about it yesterday, where there's this notion, it's the empath's villain era, right? The healers, like it's our villain era, because we're putting up boundaries, right? Because we're affirming ourselves, because we are detaching from people pleasing, right? Because we are choosing ourselves, we are investing more in who we are, and that'll piss people off, especially those who are profiting off of you, right? And that's why it becomes a villain error just because of that. Look at that. Like, that's so crazy when you think about it, right?
Mm.
So I feel like just to take this practice a level or a notch higher, how about we also say one thing? You see, like how you've talked about uh, having more grace for yourself. So now we get into another space where we talk about maybe something that has been feeling heavy, something that you feel this year has been particularly, and then you speak light into it, or you speak light into it, and I also speak light into it,
Mhm.
right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think that'll be really good. Really good. And I would say the heavy thing for me this past year, adulting. Like there's just been so many, I gotta take care of this. Oh, I need to do this paperwork. I need to go through these things and I need to clean my closet. And not just clean my closet, I need to do an overhaul. Like, okay, let me reframe. Not need to. It would be nice to. Because see, even that quick reframe there, need to just feels like ah. But it would be great if within the next like 5 days that I could do an overhaul. So, I have to take care of this, just all the different things that must be done. So that would be the heavy thing. And I think the way I would speak light or into that is say, listen, see, delegate what you can, do what you can. You can only do one thing at a time. Or let me not say one thing at a time, but take it one thing at a time. You can only have that grace. And that goes back to what I mentioned about really extending that grace to ourselves. So, yeah. And to be honest, having some support would be great. And we're not an island. And that goes back to our other conversation that we had, doing all the things. Why is it normal for us to do all the things on our own? And so maybe I do need to reach out for a little bit of support or see even if there's something I can delegate to my virtual assistant, something that she can do that she'd be happy to help with. But we talked about, just kind of having to be independent out of necessity. So I have to make sure it's not one of those things like, okay, yeah, I do it all by myself, where it's like, it's okay to have some support.
I love
I
that.
love that.
I love that. And I mean, Elyssa, let me just give you your flowers today. I've met a lot of people, and especially you're running your own business, right? And you're still finding the space to speak life into people. And if there's one person who gets how heavy that can be, it's me.
Mm.
Right? And I think sometimes, we try and get help. You're trying to find your knight in shining armor. And that's not what we need, right? Sometimes, you just need to send a voice note to a friend. Or if we're going to be more practical, because this is something I want you and I to try and do, and I just want to put it here in record, is see how we can be of support to one another. Like, if there are things you'd want me to help you with, I know sometimes I can be overwhelmed with mothering and all those things, but I'm creating a schedule around having other people take care of that, right? And not feeling guilty about it, right?
Mhm.
So getting into that space where I sit down and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to achieve. This is how I'm going to achieve it. And here's a thing I learned about also what, and let's call them energy vampires, right? Because I think what makes us tired is not the responsibilities, is the people who will still try to suck off of you, even though you have quite a number of responsibilities, right? So, whether you need support in anything, like to do some work, if you need to do some filing, if you need to do, you can just check ahead of time. We see what I'm equipped in and how I'd want to help. Because, I mean, hopefully I'm going to be coming there in 2026, so we're going to be able to, and coming in even just as a psychologist and as a coach, right? So even if it means doing some additional paperwork and getting that done, we'll do that. But I've really come to realize that sometimes we just have to put, what they say, putting your money where your mouth is. So when it comes to actual support, like, how like we started this podcast and we were like, okay, we're going to do it. And then we started it, and then we're still trying to post. We're still trying to do it right. That's another administration conversation that you and I need to have. But the most important thing is, as often as we can, we're putting out the knowledge out there, So I think just, the challenge is in moving, but also slowing down. Because also when it doesn't work for your soul, So trying to get that space. And I know definitely there's so many factors, the economy, all these things, but sometimes I feel like just the right energy from the right person, even mundane tasks, that keeps us moving, right? So if my nanny is home and she's preparing something for Jasiri, and it gives me time to get on a call, it gives me time to take a nap, and even it gives me time to have a conversation with her, and she'll tell me, now because my nanny has 3 kids. She has three children. So she'll tell me, my children are having this, and I gave her a little bonus for Christmas, and she was so happy. She said, thank you so much, Jasiri's mom, thank you so much, and she's a mother like me. So I honor that. So sometimes we'll just talk about mothering things. So you say it's the same thing, like meeting someone where they're at, right? So even with the things that you've talked about, I feel like I know you're strong and I'm strong, but we need our helpers to come from the same path of healing where we are at. Otherwise, when a stranger comes in, sometimes they have their own agenda. They don't know your journey. They don't honor you. So even as they help, sometimes it's not going to be real and honest. I don't know. I've talked too much, but I'm sure you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is great. And even just, and I know we've got to wrap up, but the show of compassion where, and sometimes people will have maybe support staff and they don't realize like, this person has a family and a life and goals of their own. And so for you to extend that compassion and love and care, I think is so beautiful. And, as you mentioned, we just have to meet people where they are. And I love that you mentioned. And so that's something I'm definitely going to take with me as we move forward. And then also about so many good gems there. Like I feel like we need more time. However, sometimes if we move frantically or out of scarcity, it may be something that's not in alignment. But sometimes even taking a step forward, like one step, is still movement forward. And so I think some people may get discouraged by, okay, I'm just taking one step at a time, but I need to be doing this and that and all these things. And I'm not saying to slack off or, you know what I mean, to not do what you believe you're capable of doing. And sometimes our bandwidth will allow us to take that one step, and that baby step is still a step in the direction where you want to go.
Absolutely.
Yay. I love this conversation. And so when we come back, I would like to ask you the same thing. What is it that you need to speak life into in your life? So I'm so excited to continue this really important conversation.
Sometimes